Thank you for that, Dita. And maybe you're ready now to help me with the first slide that I actually want to put on the screen. So there we go. All right. Stress, anxiety. Well, it's a mental thing. What is a mental thing? It boils down to your mind. What is happening in the mind? So actually, we're going to have a look here. And here's a definition. Mind. The mind is the accumulated recordings. By accumulated, we mean stacked up, right? Recordings of thoughts, conclusions, decisions, observations, and perceptions of a being, you could say a person or a being, throughout his entire existence. Now that's a mouthful, right? And I'm going to give you a quick demonstration how that works. But let's just read it again. The mind is the accumulated recordings. So if I would say primary school, you have a recording of it. If I would say baker, you have a recording of it. If I would say the slide or the swing, you would have a recording of it. If I would say circus, you would have a recording of it, right? And all that stuff has been accumulated throughout your existence. And that includes thoughts about it, conclusions about it, decisions, observations, and perceptions about it. What is a perception? A perception is something that you perceive. How do you perceive? Well, you perceive whatever you see with your eyes. And that is visio perception. And you, of course, you have audible perception that you pick up from sound wave. You would have tactile perception. Let's say you're leaning at something and you feel the pressure of it. So that's a pressure on your skin. That would be tactile. So you get all these different kinds of perceptions, right? That's all part of your mind. It's stored. So Dita, if you will, you can put up the next picture, which is the picture of the guy walking in the street. All right, so what is happening here? So we see somebody walking in the street, right? And he's actually making recordings of it. So in the first picture, he is walking towards a tree and he's making a recording of himself and the tree in one picture. And he moves on, and now he sees a tree and a house. And he's making a picture of himself in that street with a tree and a house. He moves on, and now he sees a house and a car. And now he's actually making a picture of himself with that house in the car in front of him. And he moves on again, and he just has a picture of a car, and he makes, or he basically perceives a car, and he makes a picture of himself and the car. You can see how these recordings actually are accumulating. Now, going back to the definition, the mind is accumulating recordings, and that's what you see visibly here in this picture. Good. Now, quick question, Dita, if you would go back to the quote quickly. I'm just going to show that. I want to show that again. So let's say we just take, for example, the question, what did you have for breakfast this morning? What did you have for breakfast? And I could ask you, well, where did you have the breakfast? And at what time did you have that breakfast? And now you can actually see that maybe some flashes might occur. You might get a flash of the kitchen. You might get a flash of your bedroom. You might get a flash of, I don't know, even the shower. I don't care where you had your breakfast. But you had your breakfast somewhere, even if it was just a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Or maybe it wasn't anything at all. But you probably have some flashes, some pictures that flash by and say, all right, I was in the kitchen this morning. I was sitting at the table. I had this small plate in front of me with, I don't know, with a ham sandwich. And you have an accumulated recording of it. Now, there's thoughts and conclusions and decisions and observations about it. Also, these perceptions. So the perception, for example, could have been taste. You say, well, it was quite tasty. Or you might have said, well, it was actually a bit salty, or it was a bit sweet, or it was like, it had no taste at all. Yeah. And you might have had some thoughts about it, like, you know what, actually, I kind of like this. And some conclusions and decisions. You know what, I'm going to do this again tomorrow. I should tell my friends to make a sandwich like this, whatever. So in other words, you can actually make decisions at that point. You can come to conclusions. You can have your observations about it, and it's just in part of your recording. Yeah. All right. Good. Now, let's put something here on the whiteboard. The quote can be taken away. Thank you very much, Dita. So let's do this. So let's say here we have a body. So a person would actually make recordings. I'm going to give you a little rendition, just as a sketch, how that would actually look over a period of time. And this we would call mental images. So if you just had a picture of your breakfast this morning, that would be one of those mental images. But it would be a series, an accumulation of a number of mental images. If I would say primary school, you get a flash of such an image. If I would say, well, remember the swing or the slide, or maybe remember cinema, you would again get a flash of a picture. So these are mental images. And that is basically your mind. Your mind makes these pictures and accumulates them over time. Now, we can actually do a funny drill here. What I would like you to do is imagine that you're in your favorite chair in the living room in the house where you grew up. Now, that could be, maybe you moved quite a bit. I mean, maybe you're asking me, okay, well, what house? Well, just any house. Take any house where you have lived before, maybe during your childhood, maybe when you were a teenager, somewhere in that time frame. And what I would like you to do is that you imagine again that you're sitting in your favorite chair, and if you don't have one, then perhaps in the chair where you usually sit or frequently sit, and imagine that you're in that chair again, in that same space, in that living room, in that house years ago where you grew up as a kid or as a teenager, right? So the next thing I would like you to do is I would like you to have a look around in the room and locate a table. Just from where you're sitting, locate a table and point it out with your finger. Point it out with your finger and just tell yourself, okay, well, that's like 1 meter, 2 meters. It's like 3 foot, 6 foot away from me. You have a bit of an indication how far away that was from you. And maybe you can get a glimpse of what did that table look like? What was its shape? What was its dimensions? How high was it? What color did it have? Did it have a special lacquer? Was it a special type of wood or a special type of other material? But go ahead and point it out and would say, all right, I got the table here right in front of me. If you can do that. Now, if you did that, then let's locate a TV. Most cases, there's been a TV in the house. Let's find from where you're sitting, let's find where's that TV. So if I would actually go back to my childhood, I would sit right here, for example, and I would say, well, I got a TV approximately, I don't know, anywhere 7, 8, 9 feet away from me. on that side. Okay, and I can see its size. I can see it was sitting on a dresser, and the dresser had 3 drawers, and it had these brass rings to pull them open. And it was one of these big TVs with one of these tubes in the back, right? And then you have the controls on the right-hand side. See, you're looking at pictures. Now, if you have that, and if you're able to point to the TV, the next thing I want you to do is find a window, any window in the room, and point to it. From where you're sitting, point to it. I would have one over there. I would have one over there. Lastly, find a door. Where's the door? Any door. Maybe there's more than one. Just find one and point at it. Okay, good. So I have a question for you in the meantime. Did you get to see some pictures? That's my question. Pop it in the chat. Did you actually see some pictures? Did you see some flashes? Did you get some colors? Did you get some objects? Did you get some perceptions of things from the past? Please put something in the chat. Let me see. I might be a little bit behind on that. Okay, Patricia says a white desk, window glass, very good. All right, anybody else? Did you guys actually get to see some flashes? Or do you get a concept of the room? Maybe you can see how wide the room was, how deep the room was, how high the room was. Maybe actually you see, maybe you don't see, but maybe you know. You simply know, well, the table had this size. The table was that far away from me. The door had that color. Maybe you don't get a picture, but you do know. So if you do know, that means it is part of your pictures. Good. So what I'm trying to tell you is that these pictures are actually 3-dimensional. I think there's somebody waiting. So these pictures are actually 3-dimensional. That's why we just did that exercise. You could close your eyes, and you would be able to point out the various objects in the room. Now, the next question that I have for you is, who or what is looking at these pictures? So what is your idea about that? Who or what is looking at these pictures? Let's see if we can get some answers on that. And now just remember our living room with its dull brown couches and the darkness, as there wasn't enough lighting. Okay, Adnan, thank you very much. Okay, so that's some pictures coming back, yeah? Very good. All right, so guys, what do you think? Who or what is actually looking at these pictures? I think it's a very, very simple question, simple to answer, but I'd like to hear it from you. Who or what is looking at these pictures? Now, if I would say primary school, you get a picture. If I would say, what did you have for dinner tonight? What did you have for lunch? Well, you know, if you just have a quick look, you can kind of like get a glimpse, and it comes back to you again. Yeah. And you actually become more aware of the fact that you have these pictures. Now, usually when we're sleeping, when we're dreaming, these pictures become very vivid sometimes. They become almost real, as if you're in a real world. And then you're in a dark space, your eyes are closed, right? And these pictures become more alive. So these are still pictures. All right, so Dario, you say, all right, my being. Okay, guys, so How about if we just say you are looking at these pictures? Now, in earlier webinars, a lot of people would actually say, my brains are looking at these pictures. Now, there's something funny going on here, which is that if you would imagine again being in your living room, you would not say, well, let me see, the TV was right here, and I had the kitchen over there, and I would have a window here next to my temple, and there was a door at the other side of my temple, and it was all in my brain. You wouldn't do that. You would actually say, well, if I sit here, the TV would be right there, I would have the kitchen in the back of me, or the garden would be over there, and you would point out these things about you, right? In other words, you can ask yourself the question, are you your body, or are you something more than just your body? That's a very, very philosophical question. And for centuries, people have been pondering on that. So we're not going to go into this tonight, yeah, but it gives you a bit of an idea. There's something more happening than what is just going on over there, potentially in the brain. Good. Now, let's say, how do we call you? Well, let's say, we could say, well, you are an awareness. Just right now, you're picking up these sounds, right? You're picking up the light in your room. You're aware of the temperature. And you're probably aware of the position of your body. And you might be aware of what's going on in the house, right? So there's a lot of things that you're aware of. You could say, well, you are an awareness. And that awareness can actually be developed. Some people are super aware that, for example, they go like, oh my God, there's something going on with my mom, with my dad, with my brother, with my sister. I don't know what, but there's something going on. I can just sense it. Quite often they're right. And who hasn't had this situation where he thought of a person and then the phone rang? And the person said, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you. How is that possible? So there's something more going on with awareness. You are certainly aware. Now, you can also say, well, you are an intelligence. So let's imagine this. You come home from work. You put your keys on the dresser when you get home, and now you go about in the house and you do various things, and you go into various rooms, and then at some point you look at your watch and you go, gosh, it's actually time for me to go and do some shopping. And you put your hands in your pockets. So, well, where's my keys? What did I do with my keys? Now, most of us wouldn't go in all these rooms again to find our keys and then go to every table, every cabinet, every dresser, every whatever to check out if we have dropped our keys somewhere. Most of us would just contemplate for a little bit and then think, hang on, where did I go from the point that I actually got home? So what you're doing is you're looking back at your pictures. You're looking back at your pictures, and there's a certain picture there that will tell you that the picture was right at the dresser, where you put it when you got home. So you're definitely intelligent, right? In a very, very smart and intelligent way, you're using your mind. All right, now you could also say, well, you're an energy. And certainly, you put a lot of energy in that body, right? You make that body moving. You endow it with energy. And you can tell when you're in a very bad mood, you're actually going to put some bad energy on that body. When you're very stressed, you're going to put some very, very stressful thoughts and stressful energy on that body. When you look in the mirror, you can tell you're stressed. And all kinds of things might happen. Now, likewise, we turn it around and let's say you're in a very good mood. You have a lot of energy. You can go to the gym and you can pound it and you can work and you can do sports and you can do whatever. You can just keep going because you got all that positivity in you. And you would endow your body with that positivity and it just runs very good. Okay? Are you just in between? Are you tracking so far? Are you with me? It's been a bit silent in the chat. Just wanted to know, are you tracking? Is this palpable? So far, so good. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so far, so good indeed, Patricia. Yeah. If this is all just fine, then we haven't found anything wrong, have we? No, we haven't found anything wrong. We basically want to know, where's the stress? Where's the anxiety? Where's it coming from? We haven't found the culprit yet. Now, what we have covered basically is, you could say, 3 parts of man, which is your body. It's not super interesting to study. A lot of people focus a lot on it. It just happens to live, on average, 75 years. So it's got some plus points, some minus points. If you want to know all about your body, you can study physiology, you can study medicine, you can study, I don't know, food, nutrition, sports. Maybe it's a bit more interesting to know a bit more about your mind. What is it that causes you this anxiety? What is it that causes you this stress? What is it that holds you back? Have you ever heard that we only use 10% of our potential? I'm not sure if you're familiar with that quote from Albert Einstein. That's what he said. He said, we probably only use 10% of our potential. So, if that resonates with you, like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm actually not using my full potential, then without making you wrong, I don't want to insult you, but it basically means you're not using 90% of your potential. Now, could it be that 90% is actually working against you? There's something there that is so much overpowering that just causes you that stress, that anxiety, and you can't seem to shake it. You can't seem to get rid of it. It just enforces itself upon you, and you can't fend it off. It just happens to dominate it. What if that 90% is that, and that actually works against you? Well, you're going to find that somewhere here, and you're going to get the full explanation of it, what the exact mechanism is. The book tells you exactly where it comes from, and it tells you exactly how to fix it and how to undo it. Okay, I'm going to give you a snippet though, where we're going to get there to some extent. Maybe, just maybe, you want to know much more about yourself. Not your body, but just you. What are you made of? Can you get any better? What is your true potential? And what potential are you really using? What is the ideal you? How would it be if you could totally be you, free to be whatever it is that you want to be, without something kicking in and making you detour from the things that you want to be? How would it be if you could do whatever it is that you want to do, that you feel that you have that freedom to do it without stress kicking in? So how much better can you get? What is your real potential, in other words? Well, you can find out about it. That'd be very interesting, right? Good. So I actually want to pop up another slide here on the screen. And so I got 3 questions here, right? 3 questions. You can pick any question. I would like to have some answers on one of these questions. So there's question number 1, or question number 2, or question number 3. Just to relate, what's going on in our lives. We're all running into things, right? This is planet Earth. We can be quite frank about it. I mean, if you would be roaming around in the universe and you say, gosh, I'm so bored. I'm looking for a place, perhaps a planet, where something exciting is going on, and where a lot of random things happen. Well, and if you landed on planet Earth with its wars and its bad news, right, and its famine and its economic pressures and its politics and what have you, well, you definitely landed on a place which is quite stressful, right? So, but then the other thing is there's also something inside us that causes us stress. And we're looking for that thing. We're looking for that thing inside us that causes us stress. So here's a question. Is there anything undesirable in yourself that doesn't make any sense? Like, are you shy, but you don't want to be shy? Are you nervous, but you don't want to be nervous? Are you unhappy? Or are you stressed, but you don't want to be? Is there something that you cannot possibly do? You cannot possibly participate in the game, but it doesn't make any sense to you. When I was younger, before I actually picked up this subject, there was something I could not possibly do. I couldn't make phone calls. It was like a phobia, but it didn't make any sense to me. I had some awareness about it. I left my country to move to Latin America and the Caribbean. So over there, as an engineer, I didn't have to use the phone. I could just walk over to any office, any factory, any building. I could directly speak to people. I didn't have to make appointments. But it was a bit strange. It's a bit weird if you can move your car, but you cannot use a phone. You see what I mean? So is there anything undesirable in yourself that doesn't make any sense? If you feel inclined to answer that question, please go ahead, put something in the chat. Or maybe question number 2. Is there a person or location that causes you irrational reactions? Well, most of us, we don't really feel happy or comfortable in a hospital, right? Or at the dentist. Or maybe there's more locations where we start to feel uncomfortable. As a kid, I used to be sick for a number of years, probably like 10, 11 years. And many times I was subjected to blood tests. And every time I would faint. So, as you can imagine, I wasn't really happy to go to the hospital again, right? I couldn't really see a doctor in a white uniform. That really caused me to have irrational feelings. When I had to go to the military for the first time, for the first day to be tested, I knew they were going to draw my blood that day, and the whole night I didn't sleep. That was just I couldn't handle that mentally. In other words, something there. Is there something like a person or a location that causes you irrational reactions? By irrational, I mean reactions you don't want, which are not desirable. Or maybe number 3, do you ever freeze in some peculiar situation without any rational reason? So maybe you have to do a speech or talk in public and you just freeze. You go numb. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to respond. Or I don't know, you can't really participate in a game. You can't really participate in a group. Somebody tosses you the ball to play, and you're like, what do I do? Just some examples. All right, guys. So let's put something in the chat here just to make it, to give a bit more reality, if you will. Yeah? I hope some of you guys are already typing. In the meantime, I have a sip of tea. I have my my cup with ginger tea, cloves, cayenne pepper, honey, and it's delicious. All right, Sonia, thank you very much. You're the first one to respond here. That's great. All right, interview scenarios. Always get in such a state. All right. It's a very good one. Thank you. In a moment, we're going to address this. And I will show you what mechanism kicks in. All right, let's see if we can get another answer here. All right, guys, I don't want to challenge you. I want to invite you to put something in the chat, like, you know, is there anything undesirable in yourself that doesn't make any sense, or any person or location that causes you irrational reactions? Like maybe you have a boss and you feel nervous around this person, right? Do you ever freeze in some peculiar situation? Okay, Patricia, thank you. Talking to a person who doesn't lift me up in a positive way. Okay, yeah, that could be. If you're dealing with a certain kind of person, some people actually kind of like have a tendency to pull you down, and you might have the awareness. You're kind of like aware that something fishy is going on. Maybe you don't really know it yet. You simply get a bit of a feeling, a gut feeling with it, right? Okay, so why does this happen? I think we're all curious to know, right? Why does that happen? All right, let's do a little drawing here. So imagine we have Joe. Let's just call him Joe now. So we got Joe here. Joe, somewhere in his accumulated recordings, he's got a recording sitting of a very bad moment that he had when he was a kid. And he had this very bad moment with a dog. So there's little Joe here. And little Joe is being bitten by a dog. Happens to be a ferocious dog. And he puts his teeth in Joe's flesh and he tears it. And Joe starts to bleed. And he's in agony. It's very painful. He faints. He faints. He's losing blood. It turns out to be a very, very bad experience. So I'm just putting that arrow here. Hope you can see it. I'm just putting that arrow here, which kind of like gives you an idea of lighting energy, very, very bad energy. Yeah, some very, very bad energy there. Painful energy. The energy of fear. The energy of maybe fear of death. Right? It's a moment of horror. And Joe, actually, little Joe has to go to the hospital. And now they're going to be, he has been fainting. He's coming to, he faints again. When he's coming to, he sees doctors, they're stitching him up. They're putting all kinds of needles, syringes in his body. In other words, to inflict more discomfort there. But he's got that sitting there. Since it's been a moment of unconsciousness, partial unconsciousness, he only has glimpses of it. He doesn't have much of a recall of it, if any. Right? Now, Joe here is going along in the street. So Joe is walking, and all of a sudden he notices a dog. Now this dog kind of like resembles, to some extent, the dog over here. So I would like to ask you, what do you think Joe is going to do? Please pop it in the chat. What do you think Joe is going to do? How is he going to respond? How is he going to react? How is Joe going to behave? All right, kick the duck. All right, so he's carrying a duck with him. One of these water ducks that you play with in the pool. Just joking. Afnan, all right, he's going to avoid the dog. Right. Okay. Patricia, yeah, I get it. You know, it's my lack of profound English. You probably want to say kick the dog, right? Awesome. Golpar, ¿verdad? El perro. I assume you're speaking Spanish. Right? Okay, good. Anybody else, guys? So what do you think Joe is going to do now? He's got that bad, painful memory there. Sees a dog, similar dog perhaps. All right, he's going to avoid the dog. All right, so what's happening here is very, very, very interesting. Joe had the purpose to go in that direction. He had the purpose to go in that direction. Now, there's some kind of resemblance going on here and there. And let's say the mind now can make a mistake between this moment in time here and that moment in time here. The mind can make the mistake that these moments in time are the same. The mind can make the mistake that this location is the same as that location. The mind can make the mistake that this animal is the same as that animal. You say, hey, but that is completely irrational. That dog was perhaps ferocious. This dog might be very pettable. Might be the sweetest dog you ever see. And yet, his mind is going to tell him to not go there. And the mind is going to enforce it by putting that same pain or that same shock wave, or perhaps it's a bit real for you, that anxiety stomach. Have you ever felt that? That anxiety stomach? It just puts it there. So he's getting a weird feeling. And what is happening technically, you could say, that moment there kind of like comes to present time. Now Joe's looking through some perceptions, some accumulated recordings from the past. He's looking through those accumulated recordings at what is actually happening in front of him. He is mixing up these two things. Are we tracking, guys? Are you tracking so far? Let's see, maybe I should go a little bit out of the screen. I can just see my nose here on the screen. Does this make sense to you? Right? Sonia said yes. Okay, that's great. Thank you for your answer, Sonia. That is fantastic. All right, so let's see what happens. So there's something there that actually controls you in a very bad way. That's the control. You get this feeling you want to talk to your boss. You get this anxious feeling in your stomach. You say, well, he looks very busy. It's probably better to talk to him another time. You want to challenge yourself. You want to do something more. And you get the feeling, I probably shouldn't do that. The control just kicks in instantly. It just prevents you from doing the things that you want to do. That causes the anxiety and the stress. Now, so here's something there that controls you, yeah? So first of all, what does it control? Well, it controls your body. Let's say you have to do a talk in public. And you trained yourself, you drilled, you memorized all the steps that you were going to talk about. You said, well, I'm going to talk about number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Number 1 is about this, number 2 is about that, and so on. What happened? You're on the platform stage, you're standing in front of a group of people, and all of a sudden, there's something there that controls your body. You start to shake. Maybe you got a paper there. And how often have you seen people speaking in public and they couldn't hold the paper still? There was something there. Whatever they tried to do, they simply couldn't hold the paper still. Now was controlling the body. Now, it would also control the mind. The person says, okay, I'm going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's standing there and he goes blank. It's like he's lost his mind at that point. It seems like he's lost all the recordings. He doesn't know what to talk about anymore. It's like there's come a wall between him and his mind. So actually, it also controls his mind. And let's go back to that expression. You actually want to talk to your boss, and you get the anxiety feeling, and you go, well, he looks too busy. Let's talk to him tomorrow. Well, the same as what happens to Joe. Joe says, okay, there's a dog over there, let me go in that direction, or let me go in this direction, do a detour. In other words, it controls the purpose. You are going to do something else than what you intended to do. You intended to do something that was really survival for you. But it produced so much stress that you said, you know what, I better gonna go and get myself a coffee. Or I better go outside and smoke a cigarette. Or I better do something else that helps me to shake off that stress. Does that make sense? Are you still tracking? Chat is wide open, guys. Hope you're still tracking. All right, so now maybe you say, well, hang on, Erik, that's a nice story. However, I never had a bad experience with dogs. As a matter of fact, I don't care much for dogs. Okay, well, I understand that. Let's just change the dog for another person. You see that we still get the same type of behavior. Here's a boss, where somebody bossy. Here's a boss, or somebody bossy, and that thing might just kick in. So I would like you to answer a question. Please put something in the chat. Yeah. Tell me something that you feel is not under your control and is stronger than you. Please pop something in the chat. We're all anonymous here, guys. Who cares? Who gives a damn? We're coming from all across the globe, right? Many different locations. We might see each other again. We may not. Hopefully you come back. Yeah. But tell me something that is not under your control and it seems to be stronger than you. Feel free, just put it in the chat. Like I just told you, there was something, for example, for me, I could never do phone calls, right? It was like a phobia. I would not. I'm like, right now, you see, I don't have much hair. But in the past, I wouldn't even call the hairdresser. It was that bad. This technology is a technology that erases the sensations such as the anxiety stomach, because that is really keeping you back. If these things don't occur anymore, if these shock waves don't occur and produce any fear and what have you, then you can actually do a whole lot more in life. You can go beyond your expectations. There's much more to it. Just to give you an idea. Yeah. All I'm trying to say, we're human beings. So we all have something that is not under our control and it seems to be stronger than you. It could be an addiction. It's stronger than you. It could be gambling. It could be compulsive buying. It could be a sex addiction. It could be a drugs addiction. It could be something else like complete shyness. It could be something like having no clue whatsoever what to do with your life. Not having any direction. Be oblivious to whatever it is that you're here for. No idea what you're going to do with your life. Maybe you feel totally uncertain in any given situation. You have no confidence. Or in certain situations, you just lose your confidence. Right? Overthinking. Good. Brain fog. Thank you. My mind. All right. Okay, guys. These are good answers. Now, just have a thought here, like whatever it is. So we're gonna take 5 more minutes, yeah, because we started a little bit late. But whatever it is that has this negative control over you, just have a look for yourself. How does that affect you? how does that affect you? Does it affect your emotions? Does it affect your performance? Can you see that you're limiting yourself, that you're limiting your potential? Can you see that it makes you unhappy? Can you see that you're not yourself? There's something going on there that makes you that you're not yourself. Can you see that it also fans out that you might be a spoilsport? Maybe you have some friends who want to involve you, that would like you to participate. But you can't, right? So you can see that it can affect you in many, many ways, yeah? It's really an obstacle. You see bears on the road. And this is what happens. Like, usually when people want to dream big, and they want to attain certain goals in their lives, the first thing they're going to come up with is, I have no time. I have no money. I don't have a job that I like. And actually they're telling you, these are my limitations. I'm stopping myself. I'm just seeing bears on the road. I don't see the bigger picture. What I do see is whatever it is that stops me. There's something inside me that makes me a lesser version of myself. Right? So, what if this would continue for the rest of your life? What if that would continue? That's pretty bad, isn't it? I can tell you, if you don't do anything, this will just continue. It'll just go on. All these bric-a-brac mechanisms that you have there, they're messing up your life. If you don't do anything, that will nicely continue. So, this is actually a subject that is meant for successful people. It's for people who want success in their lives. It's for people who want to be successful and who want to step on that path of improvement. Now, there's many self-help books on the market, and they're kind of nice. And you read the book and you say, okay, so, all right, wow, I feel great. But the next day it's same old, same old. Maybe some of these books are like, all right, do the positive and stay away from the negative. That's where Dianetics is really different. This book is not that. It tells you exactly, why are you negative in the first place? What is causing this negativity? What's causing the negativity, and how do you fix it? That's actually what you're going to find in the book. Now, we always have a bit of a promotion at the end of our webinars. And for people who really want to get started on this path to self-improvement and really develop your full potential, for you guys, we have actually put something together which is a mini series of webinars, which is called The Mind Explained. I'm not sure, Dita, I just moved in the very, very last moment. Do you have a picture of that with any chance? Just asking if you have. You're gonna, okay guys, bear with me, bear with us. Dita is going to pull up the picture. So, how does this work? So basically, this book is actually a book of 20 euros. For anybody living in the UK, I think it's about 16, 17 pounds, more or less, maybe 18. You would say, well, Erik, that's a very big book. Well, that's true. It's essentially 3 books in one. You will have a glossary in the back. This happens to be my own version, so you can see the highlights. But you have a glossary in the back, so you don't need to go onto the internet and find any dictionary there, or have your own, your own bound, hardbound, softbound dictionary to look up the words because the words are actually in the back of the book. The first two books are all about what is the mind, how does it work, what holds you back. The second part of the book is all about what is the method. How do you handle that stuff? How can you get rid of that crap that holds you back, that limits your potential? And so what we've done right now is that we're actually coming up with a mini series of webinars which we call the Mind Explained. And it is 3 webinars. Right after this one on the Tuesdays, we're having another webinar on the Wednesdays. And for people who are interested in having that book, in purchasing that book, and once again, who want to be more successful in life, who want to get rid of this anxiety stomach for good, and these feelings of anxiety, these feelings of fears, these feelings of stress, the Dianetics is a guaranteed method that works. Now, do we have a picture in the meantime, or maybe we could pop it up? Yeah, all right, just okay, good. So we have this picture. All right, that's fine. So there's a webinar series on the Wednesdays, right? It will be 1 hour earlier than this one. This one is from 8 to 9, Irish times, English times. The Mind Explained is going to be on the Wednesdays from 7 to 8. It is dedicated to those who buy the book. Part 1 is, the title is A Wonderful Unknown Machine. What is the purpose of the mind? What are the 4 areas of life that the mind tries to resolve? And what is the perfectly functioning part of the mind that we all have? Then the next webinar is your 90% unused potential. And what that webinar covers, and we're going to go more deeper into it than we have done today, imagine, it's going to be very good. We're going to go to the real source of unwanted behavior, emotions, and thoughts. And by unwanted, I mean like, you not doing the things that you want to do, or not being whatever it is that you want to be. Then we're going to have a look at what is the overlooked factor that can actually make the body ill. And we're going to cover what is the hidden potential you never knew you had. And in part 3, we're going to go into the ultimate breakthrough. This book actually covers a breakthrough that is brand new for planet Earth. For decades, perhaps centuries, people have been looking for the answer. What is it that limits our potential? What is it that drives man nuts, that makes him go to war, that makes him have nightmares, that makes him have irrational fears? In part number 3, we're going to cover the ultimate breakthrough, which is how are you permanently getting rid of that negativity? What is the method? How do you do it? What are the steps to really be you, fully yourself? And we're going to cover that with success stories from people as well who have actually applied the method. Good. I want to pop up the link in the chat. I apologize a bit for running a bit late. I hope you're all good. There's the link, guys. Have a look. And I'm going to go back to my tea. Oh gosh, I just swallowed on on cayenne pepper. Oh my god, I got it in my throat and my eyes. That was a bit too much. Nevertheless, very good. Okay, this is a direct message. Kira Boyle, okay, absolutely love and really admire your webinar you put up tonight. Very much enjoyed it. All right, that's fantastic, Kira. Kira, I should say, right? Apologize once again. Dutch, not too long in Ireland, not totally 100% familiar yet with names. Anyway, yeah, I'm really glad you enjoyed it. That's fantastic. So, once again, guys, so what we are doing here is that for anybody who says, okay, good, you know what? I actually want to make improvements. I actually want to step on this path of self-betterment, self-improvement. I can tell you from my own personal experience, gosh, I'm having fun when I'm on the phone right now. You know, that is going from one radical impossibility to do that to a whole new ability that is very stable and just being able to do that. Years ago, I wouldn't have imagined ever that I would actually be here talking in public, like webinar or being on stage. I don't mind, but it would absolutely freak me out, just the thought alone, before I actually got a hold of this book and this technique. Yeah, has given me a lot. I got rid of nasty habits. I got rid of degrading myself. I got rid of, gosh, procrastination. I became a whole lot more active. And I remember one time when something really big happened, that I got rid of something that was just controlling me so much. And I could say it was kind of like ruining my life. When when that was gone, I five times my income. And it was like, it wasn't quadrupling my income, but I in 1 month it was handled, and I literally went to an income that was 5 times what I had done before. So now you're getting by, and well, maybe you have these daily, weekly, monthly worries about your bills and financial pressures. Well, I can tell you, finance is just the result of your ability. Finance is just the result of your ability. And if you move from 10% up to, I don't know, 15, 20, whatever, but if you move up and you get rid of some things that have been keeping you down, and if it really gets handled and it's gone, and you can finally do something that you couldn't do before, you can now comfortably do it with certainty, with confidence, then I guarantee you your income will go up. And with that Dianetics, you cannot just make a person more competent, you can also make him more confident, and you can actually increase his IQ. So for those who would like to join in and do these 3 webinars, they're going to go on a repetition, so you never really have to miss out on anything. And we're doing that basically to help you understand the book, to become a real pro on the mind. You could even become such a pro that you can not just help yourself, but even others, like family members. And that's why we're setting this up. We're going to continue with the introductory webinars on the Tuesdays, and we're going to go with the Mind Explained on Wednesdays. You're basically committing to 3 Wednesdays, and we're going to be starting in December, but we will continue January, February, and so on. So in other words, If you can't make it on a certain Wednesday, there's always a chance to basically come back another time, and we're not going to discriminate even if you want to, let's say, redo the previous webinar and say, hey, you know what, but I want to do it again. That's all good. We're all happy with that. All right, guys. So, is there any questions? So you, okay, Kira, you want to order this one as a Christmas gift? That's fantastic. Make sure you get your own copy. And maybe, how about a Christmas gift for you? That is actually an investment in you. You know, the best gift you can ever give yourself is the gift of freedom. And freedom is not out there in the materialistic world. It's not your next suit, your next coat, your next dress, your next house. No, freedom is ability to do, ability to be yourself. And with that comes happiness, because happiness is attainment of the things that you want to do, to realize in life. Attainment of goals gives you happiness. So, and what's blocking you? That's your lack of abilities. Something there that keeps you from being you. That puts that anxiety stomach there. And actually, the book, it tells you specifically where you can find that anxiety stomach in the mind and how to get rid of it. Now, imagine that anxiety stomach, it never comes back. Can you imagine how free, how liberated that could feel? All right, guys. So let's end off tonight here. I hope, I sincerely hope to see you on the Wednesdays. Was there any question before we end off? Yeah, Patricia. So yeah, sure. If you want to do the Mind Explained with us, sure, do get your book, because the Mind Explained is really for the book buyers. The book is 20 euros. It's like, you know, what can I say? 2 hamburger meals. It's no comparison. Get the book. If you're in Ireland, UK, you actually get the book without shipping costs. So it's next to nothing. And it's such an investment in you. And then with that, we're going to take you through the Mind Explained webinars. So while you're reading, you get the full conceptual picture of what all these things mean, because actually you're going to learn something new. You're going to learn something that you never learned in school. In school, they don't teach you about the mind. They don't teach you what's holding you back, right? So I think we don't have any further questions, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a delight to be able to relay that information for you tonight. Dita says the Mind Explained is on Wednesdays, 3 webinars, 20 euros, and you will get the book included for free. Yeah, that's how it works. 3 webinars, just like tonight. We're going to go deeper. We're going to show you the real answer, the real method, the crowbar under the problem to crack it. Make sure that problem kind of like turns into rubble, debris, so that the problem is really cracked and will not be bothering you for the rest of your life. All right, 20 euros, 3 webinars, book included. It's a steal. All right, guys, thank you so much. It's been great. Have a great rest of your evening. I think next week we're going to talk about procrastination or something like that. Look forward to see you again. Bye for now.